Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co op Shop, and today I'm reviewing Great Western Trail New Zealand, the solo and competitive game of deck building, movement, and shearing those sheep. And no disclaimer for this one, I borrowed Peter's copy of the game. In Great Western Trail New Zealand, players take turns moving their meeples along this track, activating different building spaces along the way. They start with a basic deck of sheep cards and upgrade it along the way with more sheep and bonus cards. And they try to reach Wellington at the end of the track to make big sheep deliveries, which will allow them to remove discs from their board to upgrade their actions, and they can also hire workers to give them other advantages. They'll also be moving on the sea route board, unlocking tokens and extra options, all trying to gain the most victory points. So let's discuss 5 key things to know about Great Western Trail New Zealand. So for my number 5, I'm going to focus on the solo mode in the game, and this is a bit of a mix for my taste. On the positive side, the automatons are very quick to resolve. You flip a card from their deck, they move a few spaces, and then take a specific action. It's all pretty straightforward once you get used to the icons they use. And the difficulty system works pretty well. You remove some cards to make it easier or harder, and also give them more or fewer points when they deliver to Wellington. But on the negative side, their difficulty can be a bit swingy, especially depending on which specialization they start with. I've found the C one to be especially underpowered, unless I'm missing something. And also sometimes the randomness of which cards come out when, especially based on who they hire, can give them very weak or strong turns, but overall it's a solid solo mode that's quick to resolve and interacts with the players where it counts. I've got another mix from my number 4 for my taste, which is the Sea Roots board. And on the negative side, this feels fairly tertiary. You don't really have to use it. I've had games that I've won without ever touching it at all. But on the positive side, if you want to engage with it, it's nice in that it can let you focus more on whatever strategy you're going for or shore up your weaknesses. If you want to shear sheep or move up on the Pathfinder track or get better deck building, all those options are available somewhere on this board. My number 3 point is also a bit of a mix, leaning pro for me, and that's the deck building in the game. First, to be clear, this is not a deck building game, it's a game with some deck building. You could never build any cards into your sheep deck and still win the game. But on the positive side, the deck building feels fun and impactful because you're not just adding more sheep to your deck to let you shear for more money and make bigger deliveries to Wellington, but you can also get these bonus cards, and a nice thing about these is that when you play them, you immediately draw a replacement, so they never clutter up your deck. They're quick and fun. But on the negative side, there can be a lot of luck in the card draw, especially when you're getting close to Wellington and need to make a big delivery. Sometimes when you draw new sheep, they'll be totally the wrong ones. Now, there are a lot of mitigating options. You can sell sheep at different action spaces. You can use tokens to draw and discard, but sometimes you're just going to get screwed, and it's not too much fun. My number 2 is a full pro for my taste, and those are the varied upgrade paths you can pursue in the game. So first of all, the workers. I've tried the game focusing on every single type of worker, and all of them felt viable and fun. You can build a ton of buildings, you can really focus on the Sea Roots board, you can focus mostly on deck building. And those kind of choices play into the other upgrades, which tokens you unlock from your board, which buildings you place out with Sea Roots. Then you can also buy bonus tokens, get these endgame scoring opportunities. So this is one of those Euros, my favorite kinds of Euros, where you can try out something different every game and it's going to feel fun and varied and exciting. And finally, my number 1 point, which is a full pro for my taste, is the movement and sort of the rondel-ish nature of it all on this board. So at first you can move up to 3 spaces, but that can increase as you go along. Where you want to stop is a very tough choice because all the buildings have attractive options in them, and from game to game, shuffling them up can vastly change what you do. And going slowly changes the pace of the game. If you're stopping on more buildings, fewer deliveries are being made, the game slows down a bit. So this movement puzzle already gives you a lot of great choices, but then adding on to that the hazards, which come out in a varied way each game and make the paths more expensive or less. Putting out your buildings gives you even more options for action spaces, but also slows down your opponents, can make them pay you for things. All this stuff ramps up the movement puzzle in a really fun way, and I want to give the Automa credit in that it interacts with movement and your buildings in an intelligent way, the way you would expect it to, so it kind of participates in the ride and makes smart decisions. So overall, you might want to check out Great Western Trail New Zealand if you like Euros in general. It's one of the best. If you like deck building, if you like careful tactical movement and lots of variety in strategies to try out. But you might want to use some caution if you don't like card draw luck, if you want your Automa to be balanced because this one can be a little swingy, or if you're overwhelmed easily and only want to play light Euros because this one having all the options can take a little bit to learn. And if you want to see the game in action, I posted a solo playthrough recently. Thanks for watching, good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.